Hello everyone, I'm back and I'm here to record a powered ranking video for Santiago because everybody's doing it, so I'm gonna do it as well. So first of all, Edward Gaming will be last, unfortunately. I don't think it's a surprise. The Chinese teams don't look very good and I think Edward is no exception. They don't look good in this meta, they seem to still be caught in last year's game plans. And the roster moves leave a lot to be desired. I don't think CB was a great signing. I think I'd rather if they just kept GNE7 or signed someone better. Furthermore, in certain aspects, it just seems like they've even regressed way past their 2024 version even. Now there are some positives. I think some of the stuff that they're doing does do well at countering the current meta. So for example, their attacking defaults are pretty solid and definitely can catch somebody off guard, but overall I was not impressed with what I've seen from Edward Gaming and they will be last. Now next up is AG, and even though they won China, I think they look worse than XLG. I think they look terrible in general. I was contemplating putting them below Edward. I am fully on board with the people saying that they fluked their way to this #1 spot. I think they look terrible. You can see that I don't have a lot of good things to say about them. I mean, solid retakes, sharp individuals, yeah, that's it. And the only reason that retakes are solid is because of the meta being flat retakes. And you know, you don't need to do a lot to have a good flat retake. I mean, the entire point of a flat retake is to catch your opponents off guard. So even if you're not perfectly coordinated, you can often get away with it. And when you've got players like Fangier on your team, yeah, you're gonna get away with it more often than not. Other than that, they're just generally bad at reading the game. They don't have a clue about what the meta is right now, I feel like. And then their defaults, their setups, they just all suck, honestly. Yeah, I don't know how this team is this high up. I think the only reason why they are is because they have crazy individuals and they are just able to get the headshots. That's really it. Now, will they be able to do it over in Santiago? I'm not sure. I personally kind of doubt it, but who knows? Again, this meta is kind of crazy. I think they might be able to get a win or two, honestly. I think if they win them up, we're so cooked. If they win them up, Valorant is cooked. And as much as I hate to do it, I will put Gilai 10th. I mean, I didn't want to put all three Chinese teams at the very bottom, but just this tournament seems stacked, honestly. It seems very stacked and the Chinese teams don't look good compared to the other regions. Now, Gilai, I think, are actually by far the best Chinese team here. Yeah, and as it says on the slide, they have a pretty good meta rate right now, you know, they have some cracked aimers. They are good at flooding sites, which is also great. That means they fit the meta a lot more than other teams that can't do it, because there are some. Their biggest issue is probably their lack of a Yoru player. I mean, Rarga has been pretty lackluster with it, even though he's great at aiming. I think his util is just one of the worst. I've seen him TP like 2 meters so many times. But yeah, I think XLG have the best chance at winning a game out of all the Chinese teams. They could definitely beat someone. Now, number 9, I'm gonna put T1 here, and hear me out, okay? Just don't close the video yet, hear me out. The reason I'm putting them this low is because I haven't really been able to catch their games. I don't know what it is, I just didn't really get to watch any T1 matches. The only game I watched was the one against RRQ, in which they kind of just stomped them, so there wasn't a lot to look at. But a funny thing I noticed in my notes from that game, which I made the notes before the whole Pacific drama that's going on right now, I said that T1, wait, let me read it to you. Okay, here it is. I have a note about their Pearl attack side. Basic gameplay with calls from spawn, but also some mid-round switch-ups based on God knows what info. I think Jemkin may have been right. No, really, the top point here is kind of a joke, but also, is it? We'll see, I guess. You know, I really want to see how they perform now over in Santiago, where they will not have any Korean casting. And yeah, I do have some worries anyways from the RQ game, because even though they dominated, I feel like, again, they were calling from spawn a lot, they weren't really adapting mid-round at all. I think there could be some good anti-striding teams in this event that might beat them, because of them being just easy to read. Now in number 8, I have Team Liquid. And Team Liquid are a bit of a weird case, because they did go on a massive lower bracket run in EMEA, so, you know, they might be on a heater right now. They might be a bit better than we expect them to be, I think. Especially since, just from pure eye test, ignoring stats and their results throughout the entirety of kickoff, because I think they started really poorly. But looking at them in the Fnatic game, I thought they were looking very good. Yeah, I think that this team, I was really worried about them at the start of the year, especially Purpo coming in, and you know, I was worried Purpo was going to be playing Duelist for them. Luckily he isn't. He's playing Initiator, which I think is also pretty bad, but he somehow looks pretty solid on it. And I think the players all mesh together very well. They all have a pretty similar playstyle where they like to go aggressive, they like to play in pairs, they like to play in trios sometimes, set up these small trap plays and bait swings as it says there. But yeah, they handled the loss of Kiko surprisingly well, honestly. And as much as I didn't like the team building process back in the off-season, looking at it now, I think they actually done a great job. And Wayne is another player that I think I'm really impressed with, maybe the most out of anyone on this team. Because, he's not their brightest star right now, but I think as a role player, he's doing amazing things for them. I think he's one of the most important pieces on this team. And, I still think Purpo is the one who could be replaced, and we probably wouldn't feel it too much. But, I mean, he's pretty good for them right now. They shouldn't make any changes for sure. And, man, I could see them go further. I got them number 8 here, but honestly, if they make top 4, I wouldn't be shocked. I think they could look very good. And again, I said some teams are good at counter-striking here. I think Liquid is a great example of it. They've really shown it in both the Vitality and the Fnatic games. I think, especially on Fnatic, I was really impressed with them on Corrode. They were able to just dodge Alfire so well, because Alfire was absolutely dominating against General Mates on Corrode. And Liquid dominated Fnatic on Corrode. So yeah, I can't wait to see Liquid. Now, number 7 is Furia, and I know they won Americas. I actually said Americas number 3 there. Oops. Well, they were number 1, and I know it. But I have some worries about Furia. First of all, Koala Noob has been absolutely carrying this team, which you could look at it as a good thing or as a bad thing. I'm looking at it as a pretty bad thing, actually. I think that the rest of the team is lacking, and if Koala doesn't turn up to a game, they could struggle. Now, they are also, I think, one of the weaker teams in terms of rifle round win rate, which is also a bit worrying, and I think their map pool is really questionable. I think the maps that they look good on, they looked pretty good on, yeah, but the maps that they didn't look good on were terrible. And I think one of their worst maps is actually Split, which they won Split in the final against MIBR, but I think they played it very poorly. I just think MIBR was worse. I don't think Furia was good by any means. There's just a lot of cases where they waste util, or their util combos don't go well. We'll see how they do. I think, this is a team that could definitely surprise me and go for that top finish, but I don't see them winning this event, and I struggle to see them making the final. Now, our first Pacific team comes in at number 6, Paper Rex. I think Pacific has a very high floor right now. And Paper Rex, I have some issues with them too, but I'm much more positive about them than many other people are. They are not fully playing into the meta. I would argue though that they are kind of countering it with some of their comps, because, well, comps and playstyle both actually. Because even though I would expect them to really enjoy this meta and play into it a lot, they're actually not really doing that. They're actually, I would say, one of the less aggressive teams in this meta. When you have teams like VBL or Nongshim around, Paper X suddenly seems very coy. And, well, not coy as in the Valorant team, you know what I mean. And it seems like they actually did take a more strategic approach to this, and they tried to counter the meta, which, if it worked out or not, not fully right. They are in 3rd place, which I think if they embrace the meta, they could go higher, but I also kind of like this idea from them. I think if they keep it up, they could really shine with it, using a lot of op as well. That's very good in this meta too, because, with initiators having reduced util, opping becomes very strong, and one of the only ways to actually anchor sites properly is to just have a solid opper on them. And then also there's Envy, and I think Envy has looked incredible. I think their team looks great. Number 5 is NRG. NRG I think is very underrated right now because the meta doesn't really fit them. I think they really suffer in this meta. However, they have Scuba, they have Brock, and these guys are fucking magicians. Brock can just pull out kills from out of nowhere at the very start of the round, and Scuba is amazing at holding sides for some reason. I don't know what happened to Scuba. Last year I thought he wasn't very good. This year, after watching Kickoff, man, I think he's gonna dominate this year. In a meta where you can't anchor at all, Scuba is managing to anchor. And he does it smart. He doesn't just anchor because he can. No, he actually knows when he can anchor. If he can't anchor, he doesn't. But if he can, he does it, and he's amazing at it. We still have Ethan's massive brain. Kiko was a pretty good signing too. I think he actually fills the gap that Som left behind pretty well. Is he as good as Som? I would say not right now. I'd say Som was better, but that's also, I think, a bit of maybe the chemistry and roles issue. So I say give them time to work on everything, and they might be back to full strength at champs. But even right now, I think they're a massive threat. I'm putting them number 5. I think they have a very good chance to make it out of groups. Now, my number 4 will be Gentlemates, and I'm taking a bit of a punt here, I'd say. I think Gentlemates might be a bit overrated right now by the community. But I will also overrate them, because why not? I really want to believe in them. I want to believe in Starazzo making a comeback. And I really like watching them. They were my favorite team to watch. Honestly, this kickoff, I really enjoyed watching Gentlemates. Now, the thing that worries me the most is that inexperience they have, right? I'm worried that they're gonna come to the internationals and they're not gonna show the same level they did back in Europe. I'm worried that they're gonna get caught off guard by the different styles of the different regions, because Starzo is really the only player on this team with international experience. And of course, you know, guys like Martin or Mini, they've been popping off, right? Mini has been amazing throughout pretty much all of last year and all of this year's kickoff. Martin, he's been breaking records, but you know, they've only done it against regional opposition. They haven't really done it on the international stage yet. I need to see that before I can believe in them making it further. I'm really enjoying Beepo finally getting a chance in Tier 1. I think he deserves it for a long time now. Glyph is an interesting signing, but I don't think he's been too bad. I've seen some people hating on him. I think he's been okay. And yeah, I've seen some talk that Starzo's IGLing might be a bit aided by the meta here, and you know what? I agree. And I think that's just another argument for them making it far. Now, number 3 is Nongshim, and I was really, this top 3, I was contemplating who to put first. Like, I could switch any of those teams to the top 3. Nongshim, BBL, and G2. Why am I putting Nongshim below the other two? Because I think this is like a clear top 3. Unless T1 is there, which, you know, I didn't watch them enough. I think this is like a clear top 3. Nongshim, G2, and BBL. But for me, the thing that puts Nongshim below the other two is that, one, I think BBL has the edge in terms of this pure unfiltered aggression and catching people off guard. I think they're gonna be better at it than Nongshim, and G2 I think has better individuals and way more experience. So I think G2 will be taking the edge. And Nongshim, the thing that worries me the most is their lack of adaptation that I've seen. Like, I've got an example listed here, Abyss against RRQ. It was painful to watch at times because they were pounding their head against the wall. But yeah, I think they are one of the favorites for this event, and I won't be shocked if they win. Now, BBL is my number 2. The EMEA winners, they are the most aggressive team I've seen in this meta, which really favors aggression. They have some amazing aimers, especially Larok and Loversrock. The LL duo will rock the international stage. I don't think they're gonna crumble under the pressure, because, see, contrary to Gentlemates, we already have an example of them going that level higher and keeping their gameplay at a high level. They had a very dominant run in Tier 2. People were worried that in Tier 1 they might not bring the same energy. They brought the same energy and more, and they dominated Tier 1. And now they're going to Santiago, and if anybody's worried about them not bringing the same energy, well, I'm not that person. I'm not worried about them bringing the energy. I think they will bring exactly the same style of Valorant that they've been showing in the EMEA, and I think it's an extremely effective style of Valorant in the current meta. I think they can go very far if they just believe in themselves. Now, I do worry about some things, like I've seen some horrible rounds from them. So, you know, between a couple of great rounds, they can have an absolute stinker, and these are just things that can't happen on the international stage, because a single stinker like this might lead to you just getting snowballed out of the game. But the thing is, these guys, similarly to Nongshim, they can also snowball games very much. If they catch you sleeping, yeah, they might just suddenly win a couple of quick rounds in a row, and suddenly you're going home and they're staying in Santiago. And yeah, I do worry about their map pool though. I think some of their maps have looked pretty poor. Even maps they picked, I think they looked pretty bad on Haven in the final of EMEA, for example. So we'll see how they handle it, but I have faith. And my number 1 is G2 now, and you might call me a G2 glazer. I've been talking about G2 quite a bit on this channel, but I think they're extremely underrated right now. I think they looked amazing in that final game of Americas that they played, and I think they have probably the most experienced squad at this level of competition, maybe barring Paper Rex, but I think they just look better than Paper Rex, and the experience is also on their side. And Baby Bay is insanely good right now. I don't know what's been going on with this guy. I don't know what they've been feeding him, but he needs to keep it up. If he keeps it up, they can go very far in Santiago. I think they can win it all. Now, is it guaranteed? I would probably say they have like I don't know if it's even 15%. I don't know, because I think a lot of these teams have a good chance to win it. Well, what is it? It's 12 teams. Yeah, I don't know. 15% might be a lot. But I think I'd be shocked if they went out in groups. I'd be shocked if they didn't make the semis at least, you know? Like, I think they make the semifinals at least. I think they are clearly better than a lot of the teams in this event, even though I think it's stacked, even though I think a lot of the teams are close. G2 is just a team that's clearly better than some of them. I think they should absolutely wipe the floor with teams like Furia or Paper Rex or even like Team Liquid. I think that it's just not a very close matchup, unless G2 come to this event and absolutely choke everything. I think they are set up for a win here again. It's been a few times that they've been set up for a win though, so we'll see. You know, they let me down in the past. Maybe they won't let me down this time. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, this was my power ranking though. Let me know what you agree with, let me know what you disagree with. And I've got some videos coming in the near future for sure. We'll see when I get around to recording them, because I've been a bit busy recently. You know, we'll see if I have time. If I do though, I'm gonna make some more videos. I'm gonna talk about the meta. I'm gonna talk about 100 Thieves a bit, because I also really liked this team throughout kickoff, but I have some issues with it as well. I'm gonna talk about it. And Esports Manager is getting, well, it already received a big update, so I'm gonna be reviewing this thing as well. And yeah, I'll hear you in the coming days, I guess, with those videos. So bye.